Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to part one of a two-part Active Directory Domain Services lab using Microsoft Azure. This lab will consist of a lot of steps, but part one of the series will consist of the following. We will create two virtual machines. Virtual machine number one will run Windows Server 2022 and will eventually be promoted to domain controller. Virtual machine number two will run Windows 10 and will be used to host our clients. Once we've created both virtual machines, we will then adjust the IP settings for virtual machine number one, the one running Windows Server, from dynamic to static, just to ensure that we retain connectivity between the two virtual machines. Once we adjust those IP settings, we will then conduct a connectivity test between the two virtual machines, aka we will ping one machine to the other. Once we establish that connectivity, we will end part one. Now, part two will have many more steps, and this is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated, which is why I wanted to break it up into two parts. In part two, we will pick back up where we left off with two machines of already having set connectivity, and we will then actually install Active Directory into virtual machine number one, and we will promote virtual machine number one to domain controller. We will set up a new forest. We will establish the domain that we will be utilizing. We will create a few organizational units. We will create a lot of users. We will then join virtual machine number two to the domain, and then we will actually be logging in with the users that we've created into the domain that we have established. And along the way, I'll give a further explanation into each individual step. Right now, I'm just kind of outlining what each part will consist of. So now, without any further ado, go ahead and grab you some go-go, some coffee, or whatever you need, and I will meet you in the classroom. All right, guys, so here we are again, portal.azure.com. The very first thing that we are going to do is create a virtual machine number one. So ensure your subscription is selected. For resource group, we're going to select create new, and we will name it AD Lab. Now, I would recommend you can name your machines and usernames whatever you want. I would just suggest you follow along with what I do, just so that it's easier to keep track. Hit OK. Virtual machine will be DC1 for domain controller. Again, eventually we will promote virtual machine 1 to domain controller. I'm going to keep the East US region. For image, we are going to select Windows Server 2022. For the size, I'm going to select an image with 2 virtual CPUs, 8 gigs of memory. Username will be student1. I will create a password. Password. Matches. RDP is selected. Confirm, review, and create. We're going to wait for validation. Validation passed. Create. There we go. And if you remember in the last video that we went over, once the virtual net has been created, we can go ahead and proceed to creating the second virtual machine. So select home, virtual machines up top. Then right here on the left under create, select Azure Virtual Machine. Same subscription, the same resource group, the AD Lab. This virtual machine will be client 1, there it is. Same region, East US. Image will be Windows 10 Pro version. The size, 2 virtual CPUs. Username will be student2. Create a password, confirm password. Now, before we select, we can confirm, but before we select review and create, if you go back up to the top, select the networking tab, and just make sure that the virtual network Active Directory Lab virtual network is selected. Review and create. Wait for validation to be created. All right, validation passed. Go ahead and create. Now, while we wait for these virtual machines to be created, what exactly is Active Directory? I guess I could have mentioned this before we even began. Active Directory is a Microsoft service used by businesses, organizations, enterprises that run Microsoft Windows operating systems. The main purpose is that it allows the IT department and staff to manage user accounts and access to resources like files, printers, and network services in a centralized manner. In other words, instead of IT personnel having to run all over the place to different buildings, different offices, different floors, whatever the case may be, they can do it from a generally centralized location. It also allows the IT department to enforce policies like password rules, account lockout policies, and so on and so forth across the whole organization. So anytime you're running Windows on your computer at work and you get locked out of your account because you typed in the wrong password or whatever the case may be, you got to submit a ticket. Just know that the person on the other side of that phone call or the other side of that email is most likely using Active Directory to unlock your account and reset your password. Okay, I'm going to hit the refresh button because my second virtual machine is ready. So I'm going to hit refresh. And there it is. So now that we've created both virtual machines, we are going to select DC1, the domain controller, and we're going to adjust its IP settings from dynamic to static. And again, the main reason we want to do this is just to ensure that that IP address doesn't change, because we want to ensure that we maintain connectivity between the two machines. And this will especially make sense once we establish the domain. So what we're going to do is, right now you're in the overview page of the virtual machine DC1. Right here on the left under settings, you're going to select networking. And then right here in the middle next to network interface, or the NIC, you're going to select DC1273. Yours may be different, but you should be able to click on it. Once it takes you to this next page, on the left hand column next under settings, you're going to select IP configurations. And then down here at the bottom, you should be able to select this whole column right here. And we are going to, under assignment, switch from dynamic to static. And now this IP address, this private IP address, will stay the same. You're going to select save right here at the top, and we're good to go. So now we're going to hit home, and we are going to log into, select virtual machines, client 1, copy the public IP address. So again, you can do this two ways. You can either copy the public IP address and then just launch remote desktop, or you can select connect, RDP, and you'll have to download the RDP file. So you can do whatever you like. I'm going to paste the IP address in, connect. I'm going to go to more choices, different account, and remember the username that we created. For myself, it was student 1. Hit OK. Oh, the more choices. Student 2. I'm already getting mixed up. Select yes. As a recommendation, I would say to open up Notepad and just keep track of your username and passwords. Turn this off. Not that it really matters. Accept. Hit yes. Okay. Once your desktop is set up, I want you to go down here to the search bar and type in CMD. Hit enter. And we are now in the command prompt. And what we're going to do next is we're going to minimize, go to DC1, overview. If you still have this page here from, I was showing you how to download the RDP file, just go to overview and you're going to copy the private IP address. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the remote desktop for student 2 and we're going to select ping -t. The -t command is, well, just to give you a quick example, I'm sure I've done this before. I'm going to ping myself. Okay. So typically when you just do a regular ping to any IP address or URL, you will always send out just 4 packets, receive 4, and that's it, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here we go. Packet sent 4, received 4, lost 0. However, if you do ping -t, -t means that it will be a continuous ping until you as a user cut it off. Okay, so we're going to paste in the IP address and hit enter. There should be no connectivity. Request timed out, and it's going to continue to say request timed out until we adjust the rules through the firewall in our other machine. So we're going to leave this running, minimize this desktop, and go to domain controller number 1. Copy the public IP address. I'm going to right click RDP, remote desktop connection, paste in the address, connect, more choices, different account, student 1. Yes. Select yes. Now you know you're in the correct virtual machine when the server manager pops up, because again, this virtual machine is running Windows Server 2022. While that's booting up, let me minimize this because it's going to be too bright for you guys. All right. We're going to type in FIR, which is short for firewall. Here we are. You want to select Windows Defender Firewall with Advanced Security. I'm going to maximize this. We're going to select inbound rules. We're going to organize this by protocol. We're going to open this up. And then if you go to protocol and go down to ICMPv4, notice that these two right here, the ones that have the echo request, those two are not enabled. So we're going to go to each one of them, which is these two. We're going to right click, enable rule. The next one, right click, enable rule. Now, minimize this and open up the other virtual machine, the client one. And look at that. This is where we switched or enabled the rule to allow echo requests. So now it's actually going through. That's pretty cool, right? So we have connectivity now between both machines. So in order to stop this, you can just either hit the X and exit out of here, or you can hit Control C. I have to do it 2 times. Control C, and look how many packets it sent in that period of time. 73. It received 35, which these right here. Lost 38, so 50%, 52% loss. Okay, so you can go ahead and close this out. Close this out. Hit OK. Put this up. Close it out and hit OK. Now, and that, oh, okay. And of course, I'm going to select home, resource groups, Active Directory Lab, delete. 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 And well, ladies and gentlemen, that is part one of the Active Directory domain services according to my Prism Live Studio. That took about 23 minutes. So yeah, this is why, another reason why I'm doing two parts, because it's just going to be too long of a video. So I am going to go back and edit this out just to cut out the dead space to condense it some more. But I hope you guys got through this part. If not, just try it a couple of times. Try to do a little bit of troubleshooting yourself. And if you have any questions or concerns, again, don't hesitate to comment down below and just ask away. Okay. So I will catch you guys for part two of the series. So catch you guys on the next hilltop. Rain it.